Hello, my name is Margaret Ajibade. I am the STEM Positive Disruptor, and I have as a special guest a wonderful lady that I met many years ago called Sangeeta Wij. But the reason why we set up this podcast is to educate, raise awareness, demystify and change perception of how the public sees our world. To showcase the diverse roles, the different elements of what we've done and how we've made an impact in our industry. And Sangeeta Wij has been in industry for over 40 years, 40 years, and started a business in 1996. And she's just an amazing woman. It's a structural engineering business, but it's a consulting business, and also what she will do is explain more and what she's achieved over the years, the struggles she's gone through, and just to say how she celebrates. We want to celebrate what she has achieved. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Sangeeta Wij. Welcome, Sangeeta. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear, for such a lovely introduction. I'm Sangeeta Wij. I was born in Delhi, and I've always lived in Delhi. But I've also been traveling a lot for my work, for my personal and professional commitments. And when I became a civil engineer and decided to join engineering in 1977, it was totally unheard of and totally not acceptable. And it was pretty mind-boggling how it all happened, and I was able to convince my parents, my close family members, and, I remember clearly that in all the chaos and all the confusion that surrounded me, my mom stood out as my most ardent supporter. She said, whatever she wants to do, she should be able to do it. She should be allowed to do it. And we should not stop her. Although my plans in the school, pre-college area were very different. I had always dreamt of becoming a doctor. I was very good in biology and zoology and the top scorer. But as events unfolded after I cleared school, I got admission into Delhi College of Engineering, which is a local but very reputed college in Delhi. And I just got into it, and I felt, that this is an opportunity I don't want to let go. So I haven't looked back after that, and I have been working from 1982 onwards till now. In this May, I've completed 40 years of my professional work. And mostly I've been in the buildings segment and infrastructure, but mostly designing buildings for earthquake. That is my passion and my main area of work. I am also associated with Bureau of Indian Standard Code Committee for, making of new standards for earthquakes and revising them. And I'm also on the National Seismic Academy that has recently been constituted by some leaders in private market to make things better for the structures in earthquake. So how I got into starting on my own was, I was earlier working with a public sector company called as RITES, which is Rail India Technical and Economic Services. This is a place where I grew as a professional, as an individual, gained a lot of confidence that yes, I could deliver projects and I could work independently. And I rose to the designation of a deputy general manager. And I also picked up a lot of earthquake resistant design techniques and principles and best practices. In fact, the first code that we got, our own Bureau of Indian Standard Code for earthquake design, came in 1984. So that was the time when a lot of professors like IIT Kanpur were teaching, how to implement the earthquake designs and safety measures into our building designs. And that is one subject I found very interesting, and I got, I got more and more involved in that. And in 95, I somehow, felt that rights was a bit stifling, and I wanted to explore new opportunities. So I joined USAID organization in Delhi, their energy efficiency, and there was another E, they used to call it EQ. And I joined there as a project coordinator in their division, looking after a $19 million project for, setting up projects where bagasse, the residue from sugarcane, could be converted into energy using high pressure, high temperature boilers.
Wow.
Although it appeared to be very lucrative and very glamorous from where I sat in rights, I somehow grew wary of it within 1 year, because I found the environment pretty alien to me, and I was a hardcore structural engineer. So I had done my master's in the meantime in IIT as a part-time student while working in rights. So I thought, I was ready to take on the structural engineering and be on my own. So my husband, actually, Harsh, you met him. He was very supportive. He said, why do you want to go back to rights? Why don't you start on your own? And he really helped me in, sharing his office, his systems, and all the logistics that is required to set up a new office. So we started in 1996, and I think we pretty much worked on all kinds of buildings till now, all kinds of light, medium, heavy, and very heavy industries, residential, commercial, institutional projects, hotels, hospitals, metro stations, and train stations, and swimming pools, auditoriums, anything you name it, and we've done it. Like, it's been a long journey. We've worked with government as well as big. I've done some very interesting, if not amazing work with, new technologies, new materials, and we've done up to 54-storied high buildings in Noida, and I've done 100 feet tall stainless steel structure in India, which is still the tallest stainless steel structure in Asia. I don't know about the rest of the world. And I've done a rail coach factory design. The whole of rail coach factory at Har North was designed by us for rights as a sub-consultant to rights. And we've done more than 100 metro station projects all over India, and more than 100 hospital projects. I've been associated with retrofitting, strengthening, auditing, and upgrading hospital facilities, designing new hospitals, reviewing some hospital projects. So we've been involved in as a main consultant, as a review consultant, and as an audit consultant for a existing or old building. So my passion or my focus is to see as many buildings to get over the compliance red mark as possible, because unfortunately I see a lot of old buildings in our kitty in India, which were designed and constructed much before the earthquake design actually started happening. Although the code came in 80s, I think around 84, but its acceptance took time, and professionals took time in learning and implementing it in the designs. And computer softwares were developed accordingly, and that also took time, and people took time again in learning those new softwares and using them to analyze and design the buildings.
Wow.
Right now, I'm I'm in the middle of a very interesting 160-acre project that we are doing in Delhi, which is an eco park. It's a conservation project, and it has beautiful, beautiful landscaping done by one of our Delhi architects, Studio Symbiosis. And we are working with NTPC, which is the National Thermal Power Corporation. They are doing this eco park under their corporate social responsibility, which is a great thing, you know, because what they are aiming to build is going to be something very spectacular and very beautiful. It's got some very interesting structures that we are designing. Some made of bamboo, some made of steel, some made of materials. There is a maze area, then there is a lotus park area. There is a big park with solar trees where there are going to be trees, you know, capped with solar panels.
Yeah, wow.
And it's going to have 1 megawatt solar power being generated there. And it's really beautiful. I'll share the pictures with you and the images.
I would love that. I would love that.
Really nice.
Yeah. I'm so amazed. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Other than that, we've done in the past version of my company when I was the sole proprietor. You remember there was a time when I was the sole proprietor in my company?
Yeah, because I came in 2009. Yeah, 2009.
Yeah. Yes, but then in 2010, 2007 to 2010, I had entered into a partnership with Mr. Kapila and Prashant Kapila. If you recall, they were in CEI, and that somehow didn't go very well. I lost my company to them, and I had to take up a job. For 5 years, I was working as a managing director in Prime Group, and then for 2 years as a director technical in AECOM. AECOM is a multidisciplinary engineering consulting firm, you know, big MNC with lakhs of employees worldwide. But that stint also was limited at such a senior level. Probably they couldn't manage, you know, they'd hired so many directors, but somehow they didn't know what to do with them. So I left that in 2015, middle of 2015, and started this company again in end of 2016, December, with another structural engineer, Mr. Harvinder Singh. He's also very experienced, and he was also my colleague in AECOM. So we have both come out, and we had been looking for something better. So I called him up one day and said, why don't we start my company again? And he agreed. And now we are working as partners. Since 2016, January, officially, we relaunched this company. And touch wood, we are getting a good stream of projects from private sector. Remember, Dassault Aviation came up, you know, sold Rafale aeroplanes to India.
Yes.
There was a lot of noise around that. So we had designed their 2 simulation centers in Ambala and in Hasimara. And that was a great experience working with the French teams. They used to come over, they used to go over our designs, discuss, and then give comments and, you know, make some changes here and there. And it has been a very professionally rewarding experience.
Indeed.
And other than Eco Park, we are also doing a lot of farmers projects these days, pharmaceutical projects for a pharma major, Hamdard. And we are doing some greenfield plants, some expansion plants for them. And there are other pharmaceutical plants that we are designing. And besides, we have some residential commercial projects happening. And what I would like to tell you is that there was a period when in my proprietorship time when we were much bigger and That is how I got involved with Kapilaji's company and we became partners. We had an association with a Australian company at that time, Brown Consulting, and they used to regularly give us work. They used to call our engineers, train them in their codes of design, timber structures, and all that. And then they would send us work, and our engineers used to sit here and do that work.
Wow.
So that was a pretty good, amazing experience. Then we had also done a project in Singapore for a Pakistani architect practicing in Singapore. And that was a heritage project where they didn't want the external facade of this very beautiful building to be demolished. It was a pretty big size structure, but they wanted the internal structure to be completely demolished and redesigned and rebuilt.
Wow.
So that was a big challenge, and we had done that successfully. They were pretty happy with our work. And that I consider as one of the very milestone kind of landmark kind of projects that we've done.
That's
Then
amazing.
we had done a power transformer plant in Nigeria.
Oh, right. You've gone very far into Africa as well.
That was pretty amazing. It was a huge greenfield plant. And there was a power transformer consultant in Mumbai. We had worked with him in an India plant earlier. So he came back to us and said, why don't we work together again in Nigeria? So that really went off very well. It was, a very satisfying experience because we worked on British codes and we gave them all the designs based on British codes. And that's something you don't get to do on a day-to-day basis. You're working on Indian codes.
Yeah, of course.
And we had also been doing a lot of work with Siemens and Langorurke, and there was a cement company we used to work with earlier, cement consulting firm. So they had given us a few projects in Middle East, the Siemens and Langorurke, and we had done a big cement plant expansion project for Gulf Cement Company, GCC, with this cement consulting firm. And that turned out to be rather pretty amazing. And there was an interesting experience. I would like to just share it because one fine day, I just got a distress call from this parent consulting company. And they said, you have to leave for Abu Dhabi tomorrow. I said, what happened? So he said, no, you send the design. They have hired a review consultant from Austria and he's screaming his heart out that there are, design is not done properly or he's found some faults or whatever. So the client is really panicky. We've arranged your visa. So you just have to leave tomorrow. Pack your bag and leave tomorrow.
Excited.
So I just carried everything with me. The analysis design, we usually do it on a software, engineering software. So I just carried everything, carried my laptop and then left the next day. So this Austrian chap, when I met him, I entered the conference room, this big conference room where the client's GCC team was sitting and this big Austrian guy was sitting. And the moment he saw me, he started off, that this is not done, this is not done. How could you do this? How could you do this? And God, I tried to tell him, that I sent you these stat profiles. I hope you've gone through them.
Yeah.
But he said, don't speak till I finish. And that was it really sounded very scary the way he said it. So I thought I'm not going to interrupt him till he finishes. So he finished. I asked him quietly, have you finished? Now can I speak? So I told him, I think you've not gone through the design report that I've sent. And also you've not gone through the stat profile that I had sent you. So he says, what stat profile? What design report? So it seems the client had never passed on the design report and the stat file to him. We were not directly interacting with GCC. We were going via the cement consulting firm for everything. You know, I was being taken there as part of this cement consulting firm. They'd even printed my cards. So I couldn't tell them that I'm an individual practicing consultant or I have my own firm or whatever. So I didn't say anything. I just told him that, look here, if you haven't got it, I have it on my laptop. So why don't you just go through it? And after he'd gone through everything, he was so respectful. These guys always start off with a bias.
Yes,
when
of course.
you're talking to a structural engineer who's a woman, and especially for a very complex, very complicated structure, you know, it was a very large span cement sheds, and we had silos, and we had on top of sheds, we had this belt moving, and there was another belt moving at the bottom underground, you know, to carry the cement, clinker, and all that. So he was not confident. Right from day one, he must have thought, oh my God, what have I got into? An industrial plant in Ras Al Khaimah. So when they start with a bias, sometimes, you know, they're completely way off the mark.
Indeed.
So that was an interesting experience. We became friends, and he even offered some work to me later, you know, in his own capacity. He said, I have another assignment where I can involve you. So although we never got down to working together in that scenario, because I couldn't actually tell him that I'm not part of.
Yeah, you can give a separate, yeah, indeed. But you know what you have shown is that, look, even though your journey hasn't been straightforward, you were able to adapt and flip it around to show your competency. Yes. And I think in a way, what you are demonstrating is that as a female, there are certain stigmas that attach onto you, show you what you are capable of doing. And that the prime example of is what the gentleman, he started off being very arrogant in many ways and very stroppy, because he felt that who do you think you are? You're not doing what I asked you to do. Only because he didn't see the information that he should have seen before he saw you. But yes, the thing is, you turned it around, and you gained his respect. Not only did you gain respect, but you also gained work as well. And this is sort of things that we as women sometimes have to face, but there are ways to overcome. And what you have shown is that, and demonstrated that, yes, you may face obstacles, but don't let that obstacle stop you, but move forward with it. Yes, Margaret, what I would like to end this bit of conversation is with a fact that when they start probably with a bias, you know, which is that, okay, good looking women, well dressed, will probably not be good for anything, you know, when it comes to technical work. Yes. But once they see your work and once they get to know you better, that yes, your work is, if not better, then at least as good as their work, exactly. Then you gain their respect. And then on, the journey becomes easy. Indeed. So this is what I've also gone through in my professional life, that people, when they meet you first, they may not want to give you work. Even builders and developers and new architects or clients that I meet, you know, at least in the beginning few years of my professional journey as an entrepreneur, I found that people had this bias. You know, whether will she be able to deliver? Does she actually know what are the best practices? What are the norms? And older people would like to kind of bamboozle you with the words that, oh, I've been working for 40 years and you're a chit of a girl trying to teach me how to do my work. So those things, once you actually show them the quality of your work, the work speaks for itself. After that, this female-male line gets blurred. Yeah, indeed. And you know, the thing is, because we you know, we're engineers, and we do have the same capacity and ability as any other person. It's always been a man's world, and for some reason in their mindset, they believe that unless I'm conversing with someone who's similar to me, a male, then they can't see how you can add value to them. But what you have shown is that, yes, you're aware of it, but you didn't let that stop you from achieving your goals. It didn't stop your journey in this 40 years of transition, and every day seems to be getting better, because you made mention about when you came into that initial partnership where you lost your company. No, for whatever reason it was, it didn't stop you. You went out to work for 5 years and you came back stronger. And look, you're working in amazing projects now, and you seem to have acquired a good partner who's respectful and works with you, sees your value add to him. But also, when I go back to the beginning, your mom started your journey. She gave you confidence because she believed in you. And then you married a wonderful man who was supportive. I met your husband, I remember him, and he was so supportive when I met him, and he really catered for your needs. To me, that's amazing. When you're in partnership with the right person, it changes things. It gives you hope. And you said when he saw you wanted to start, he actually encouraged you to start your business. He gave you space to do that. And all right, it's now okay. I'm apologies for that hiccup.
It's okay. I think, Margaret, we were discussing how things changed, when I lost my company. But the support I got from my husband, my immediate family, my in-laws. In India, we have a wonderful system of family support, which is remarkable. You may recall having met my mother-in-law. You've not met my father-in-law, though. So they are extremely, extremely supportive. God bless, now they are no more. But it's really been amazing, to be out on the street with just your bag, having lost everything you created over the last 11, 12, 13 years. And then suddenly you find yourself to be on the road. And in the middle of tears, your car is gone, your driver is gone, your company is gone. But still, I didn't lose heart because I knew I have support at home. And I could have restarted my company, but I thought better. I thought, let me go back and work. One of our clients at that time offered me a job, with the status pro quo, what do they call it? Quid pro quo. And he just said that same salary, same designation, you just come over and start a new company in our group. And that was also a very amazing opportunity. And I got some really good works for them and worked there as a managing director of a new company. And for 3 years, then I moved on to ACOM. I was there for 2 years. We did some pretty tall structures and big structures there with big names like DLF and Wave and all that. But within 2 years, I realized that I was not professionally very happy working there. So once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur.
Very true.
Taking instructions from somebody, sometimes, you feel a bit cowed down and you don't want to do what they want you to do. So we started this company together, me and my partner now. Touchwood, we are very happy. We are getting good work. And the lessons learned during those, bitter years which I spent in ICT SDEC were to be more professional, to be more aware of the money which is coming in and the money which is not coming in. Because as engineers, it's not just enough to be a good engineer. If you turn a businesswoman or a businessman, you should also have some business sense, and you should be able to keep those checks and balances, which I was not able to do earlier. So now we are managing the company more professionally and trying not to outgrow our capacity, financial capacity, and we are keeping it as a boutique consulting firm and not, and that is how we've been able to survive the pandemic, because we were working mostly from home, but still we were able to deliver to our clients, and we were able to generate some money, not enough to cover everything, but still, to cover something for everyone, so we could survive. And I think we are happier now because I'm closer to home now. My office is just 1 floor below my residence now.
Okay.
And I don't have any work travel other than meetings sometimes, but it's very convenient. And I now have a 2-year-old grandson, going to be 2. So I can always go up and play with him as and when I want.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can have a great work-life balance. And I have to share with you, Margaret, that there is a very positive change in the environment when it comes to number of girls in STEM. I am now regularly coming across very senior position women are holding, vice chancellors of big universities, engineering universities, engineers turned MBAs, heading MET University, and VIT, which is Bellore Institute of Technology. And you may not recall, but when we had Equest 17, we awarded some remarkable women who were instrumental in launching of Indian space shuttles, and ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, has a very high number of women scientists who have done some pretty spectacular work. And I also met during that time our DRDO women. They're wonder women, I met 2 director generals who were ladies and doing amazing, amazing work. And they have any number of women scientists, engineers and scientists who are at pretty senior positions. So I think things have started taking a turn for better. And we see more women engineer turned pilots. I met a woman when I got an award from British High Commission. At that time, I met a lady engineer. She had been inducted into our armed forces, as the first woman Air Force pilot.
Wow.
And I felt so proud.
Yes.
I just hugged, and she hugged, and we cried, because it was such a touching moment.
It is.
To meet her.
Indeed. Because you're the trailblazer. You pave the way for so many different people. You and many other women who started in the beginning.
They are just out there, so many wonderful women that probably we've not met, but they are there. And they are keep on doing, they are just going on doing amazing work.
Yes, indeed.
Space research, even computers, your telecommunication sector, your artificial intelligence and robotics and drones and whatnot. Technology is taking a big leap. It is really doing amazing things for women. And even in tier 2, tier 3 cities that I've been traveling to for work sometime, I met engineers who, after girls, who got married and still did their MTech or, postgrad in engineering. Their in-laws were supportive enough. Their parents were supportive enough. And I remember with so much respect, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, who looked after my baby girl when I used to go and study in IIT for my MTech, I had a 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah. And I think, what you're showing as well, look, the support network makes a huge difference. Your family network, they supported what you wanted to,
Yes.
your dream. And I think that's so wonderful. And, you know, also you made mention about, you know, I think one of the things about India, I think Asia as a whole, is that they're quite keen to see, doesn't matter if you're female or male, but, you know, being an engineer is quite an important role. Being a doctor, being a lawyer is kind of a three thing. And it's quite nice to see that now it's not just them being in the lower echelon, but now in senior positions, we can see the transformation, the change that people are now, or companies are now open to the need to see that there are women who are making impact in this STEM world, in this industry. Let us acknowledge them, let us give them the promotion that they deserve. Just like in your company as well, just like in your, you use that example when you went to Abu Dhabi and the, you okay?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And you went, and initially he was biased towards you, but when you showcase what you could do, the bias turned to respect, and also it enabled you to get more work. And I think we need that across the global world. We need that in the UK. I mean, although there are promotions taking place, but we all need it to be not tokenism. We want it to be more in, if you can do it, let us promote you. And it doesn't matter what color, what gender you are. If you have the ability, let us do and promote you to that level itself. And that's why one of the reasons why I was asking, how can we get the conversation started within the industry, the education system, because we're getting now young people who have got much more of a diverse opportunities, which was not always there before. How do we get them to come into the engineering world? You don't always have to be an engineer, but as you said, there's been an engineer who became a pilot. I mean, there's been engineers who become comedians. It doesn't matter as long as you're happy, because we are not just engineers. There's much more to us, as you're saying. You're an engineer, but you're also a mother. You also have a husband. You have different roles, different hats that you wear. So I don't see a problem you wanting, as an engineer, different roles in life. That's okay.
I think it's okay as long as children want to do what they like.
Yeah,
I think it's
they have to
very
be happy.
important that they should study and follow a path which is of their interest and not forced upon them. And they should be able to happily contribute to the growth of society on a right path, climate friendly, environment friendly designs, living styles which conform to a good environment, contribute to a healthier environment, and is not, inducing global climate change. So I think our children today are studying to be more sensitive towards a variety of these issues. They are being taught about environment, about how to not make the mistakes that we made earlier. And our governments are also taking steps to mitigate the harms that have already been done. You know, the mistakes
of the past.
That were committed earlier. But, you know, our numbers sometimes go against these things because we are so huge in numbers, and we have a huge challenge because the demands are very high. Demand on power is very high. Demand on water, consumable water, is very high. So they cannot stop thermal power altogether. However, our government has taken really remarkable steps to promote solar power. Solar power has been made mandatory in certain states, even in small residential developments. And for public projects, it is anyway mandatory. So what is happening is now even larger, like 100 megawatts, 150 megawatts solar plants are also being developed in Gujarat especially. So that is going to give a lot of relief to the otherwise overloaded thermal power industry. And it is also going to help create a cleaner environment. Similarly, a lot of encouragement is being given to EVs, the e-cars, and
Yes,
a lot of
of
battery
course, yes.
stations are being installed. Our public transports are switching over to e-modes.
Yes.
So gradually, the idea is to gradually bring the demand of conventional fuels to a lower level, and reduce dependability on something which is anyway very expensive, and we are always importing petrol and diesel. And even refining them is also so expensive. So politically also it'll be better if we thrive on solar power and create EVs and all that.
Yes.
So new models are being launched. There is a lot of interest among the younger people to buy those EVs and start using the charging stations and not rely on petrol or diesel. So I think these are interesting possibilities. And another thing which is helping is that our government now has a very strong focus on Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is independent India. So the idea is to not be just a job seeker, but to be a job creator.
Indeed.
So a lot of focus on innovation is being given. A lot of focus on entrepreneurship is being given. And a lot of small and medium enterprises have been set up. There is a special ministry which is looking after the interests of MSMEs. So I think over a period of next 10 years, I see a lot of good things happening. And while you visited India, I don't know whether you got a chance to interact with Department of Science and Technology staff. They're extremely empowered to run projects for the welfare of women engineers and women scientists. They're really promoting and encouraging them to do more and more work, and even creating opportunities for them to come back. People who take
nice.
a break,
return to work. That's really nice.
We used to always discuss it, how to get them back into the mainstream professions in our seminars and workshops. Brilliant. So I see that happening now. They are creating opportunities and connecting with them, encouraging them to come back to the profession, so that that talent pool is not lost.
Lost, indeed. I think this is, so wonderful. And you know what? I can talk with you all day and enjoy it, because I'm telling you, it seems India is doing a lot, and it's promoting a gender balance, a gender equality. They're promoting not just recruiting, retaining, but also getting women who have gone away to come back, so returners to work. It seems that the nation is doing great things, and I think it's so wonderful. And I think this is something that we can share with the world, because again, it's about it's enabling, it's making our world more accessible and inclusive. And Sangeeta, I'm so pleased and I'm so proud of you. I'm just amazed about your story, your journey, and I'm sure so many people that will listen to this will actually gain so much from what your journey and what you've achieved, but also what's happening behind the scenes and what India's doing, where there's women are being promoted to senior level. Sorry, that's okay. But I'm just going to say thank you so much. This is Mia's conversation with Sangeeta Wij, who's got a structural consultancy business in India, who's got an international flavor because she's worked across many nations as well, many continents. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And we're celebrating your achievement. We're celebrating where you are. We're celebrating the fact that, talking about the eco-pact, when you're thinking about global, the climate change, and how you're also seeing how we can change those things and how we can improve it. But also how you said the government is actually doing things, and children are more sensitive to the needs of our world right now, which means that whoever comes into the pool of the engineering world will actually have an inclination of what they would like to achieve to make a difference, to impact our world. So thank you again, Sangeeta. I'm so proud of you. This is Mia's conversation with Sangeeta Wij, and this is the STEM Positive Disruptor. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Great experience.
Oh, you know what? You've made a difference.